Hey guys, welcome to What's Their Inspiration podcast. Today we are going to be interviewing Olivia Oxborough, so let's get right into the questions. Describe your art.
My art is I would describe it as color-filled abstract art. It's really color forward, shape forward.
What's your biggest piece of inspiration?
I think I look to nature a lot for my inspiration as far as color palette and composition.
Who was your idol growing up?
That's hard. That threw me for a loop. That's a tough one. Can I tell you some of my idols now?
That's the next question.
Oh, let's go to that. We'll come back to that. Some of my idols now, I really like a group of artists that were popular in the 60s, so a long time ago. A few of them are Mark Rothko, Helen Frankenthaler, and Willem de Kooning.
I've never heard of those names.
You probably wouldn't know of them.
So should we go back to the...
I am stumped. My biggest source of inspiration when I was a kid. This is sad that nothing comes to mind.
It could be...
Or my idol.
Or it can be like an...
You know what? It doesn't have to do about art, is that
No, it doesn't have to.
Well, when I was a kid, I was really into Will Smith. I loved Will Smith. I thought he was super cool. Do kids know who Will Smith is?
Yeah, I watched my dad watch Men in Black. So,
yeah. Great singer, great actor. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's going to age well, but
yeah.
I can't think of anyone else right now. Okay.
Yeah, what's the most expensive piece you've ever worked on?
Well, those are going to be the most expensive piece, but they're just not done. So I think my most expensive piece was from the last show, the triptych, which was the big green, dark one.
Oh.
Yeah.
How do you sell your work?
I guess kind of word of mouth right now. Friends and friends of friends sold some stuff at my show, and kind of working on selling through social media.
How did you learn your craft?
I took a lot of classes. I started taking art seriously, and then I decided I'm just going to start taking classes at night, and kept going with classes. And the more I learned how to make traditional art, then I started making weird kooky stuff like this.
Do you continue to learn new things? What is an example?
I guess I started really in 2020, so 5 years. So I'm still such a beginner. So I'm learning stuff all the time. This week, worked on 2 paintings, and I took them both to the garbage today. So I'm constantly learning color and composition and what works.
Tell me about your process.
I start with reference photos loosely of landscapes. So the shape is kind of based on a landscape. You know, it's not obvious, but to me, that's how I keep things from getting totally away from me. Yeah. So I start with that, and then I stretch my canvas. Gramps taught me how to do that. And then I work on a palette. So I make little samples of colors, and then once I find some colors I like, I bigger versions of them, and then I just go.
Okay. How do you begin a new piece?
I guess I kind of answered that. Yeah, so I go to the art store, and I'm always going to the art store because I'm always forgetting stuff, and it never ships fast enough. So I go to the art store, I grab all my materials, and then I stretch my canvas, and I don't prime my canvas, which is kind of rare. It's traditional to prime your canvas. So I paint on raw canvas, which gives it this kind of earth-like vibe. So I skip that step. But then I get to painting. Sometimes I'll bring my iPad here for a little reference photo.
Okay. Can you tell us about how, if you did prime your canvas, how do you do that?
Okay. You want me to show you?
No, just tell us.
So primer is, you'd use something called gesso, and you would put it, so it would take canvas that looks like this, it's raw, and it would put kind of a seal on it so that the paint wouldn't seep through the canvas as much. So you can get clear or white, or maybe some other colors, but it kind of just nice surface for the paint to go on in a certain way.
Okay. How do you know when a piece is finished?
This is a hard one. This is a hard one because I find myself sometimes I'll be like, I think it's finished, but what if I do this? And then I wreck it. And then I'm like, beat myself up. So I think just trusting when you feel it in your heart, it's done, even if you're curious. Could it use something like this? No. If you feel in your heart it's done, it's done. Put it away. Try that curiosity with something new.
Okay. What materials do you use?
So I use raw canvas, and I have been mostly working with acrylic and earth pigments, little powders that people literally get through the earth. Yep. Sometimes I use these oil sticks, which are really cool. It's like oil paint.
But it doesn't like get on, if it gets on your clothes, it will stain them?
It will stain them, but it's less intense than oil paint and can feel a little,
It's a little
you have
dry.
to shave, with this one, you have to shave the outer part off to get it to work. But oil sticks are really cool. I'm really into them, and some lady that I met in Iowa gave those to me. Anyway, but I sometimes use oil paint still. I like the way the colors look. They're more rich and vibrant, but oil paints are kind of not great for you.
And expensive?
They're expensive, and you need a solvent to wash them. Acrylics, you can wash them with soap. You need a solvent. So oil paints are kind of toxic.
Yeah. If you weren't an artist, what would you have done?
Well, I always wanted to be an actor. So I think I'd have to say that. But sometimes I think one of my other dreams that I never went in that direction would be a zoologist. I think that would be a really cool job.
Thank you for listening to this episode of What's Their Inspiration? This is Olivia Oxborough
And I'm Olivia Oxborough.
signing out.